The most common that you run into, of course, your straight wall casings, 389, 40, 45 ACP and the like. These straight wall casings headspace off of the mouth. In other words, the mouth stops its forward movement going into the chamber. On 223, 308, and about a million other cartridges, it's the shoulder area right here that stops its forward movement going into the gun. On a belted Magnum, this belt right here is what stops its forward movement. This is 7mm Remington Magnum, and this belt and all the other belted Magnums, it's this right here that stops its forward movement going into the chamber. And then you have, of course, your rimmed cartridges, 38 Special, 357 mag, 44 mag, all of those. The rim itself protruding outside the wall of the casing stops its forward movement going into the chamber. Now, generally, rimmed cartridges are going to be pretty forgiving, unless the rim is all dinged up and gouged and whatnot, particularly on a revolver. The recoil shield that stops its rearward movement is not perfectly straight when you look in the revolver. It's actually at a little bit of an angle, so you have more space back here, so when the cylinder rotates, it can do so more freely, and it becomes tighter as the cartridge rotates up to become in alignment with the barrel itself. So there, up towards the top where the alignment with the barrel is, you have far less space than you do at the bottom. That helps the cylinder rotate freely. If you have been neck sizing, and on a belted Magnum or even on a bottleneck casing, and you notice that the gun's just really hard to lock up, get a full-length sizing die, flip it over and look at the bottom of that sizer for belted Magnums. You're going to notice a step in the bottom of the die that accommodates this area right there. And what that's doing is it's bumping that shoulder of the belt back a thou or two to ensure that the gun is going to lock up. On your bottleneck casings that have a shoulder right here, same thing that you run into if you are just neck sizing. If you're not bumping the shoulder, doing anything with the body of the casing, full-length sizing, small base sizing, what have you, every time you fire it, it still continues to grow. So you get to the point where the gun just will not lock up. So if you are using a full-length die, you want to bump the shoulder back a thou, 2, 3. I'm a big believer in having at least a couple, 2-3 thousandths headspace in there, so if you get some unburned powder, you're shooting on a windy day, you're getting dust going into the chamber. If you get a little bit of crud in there, the gun will still lock up and function just fine. For hunting ammunition or for personal defense applications, you always want a full length or small base size, so you are ensuring that you are not going to have hesitation in getting the gun to lock up. It's got to function flawlessly. And then on your straight wall casings that headspace off of the mouth, you don't roll crimp these things unless, of course, you are loading it for a revolver. You've got a cylinder that shoots 357 mag and 9mm and whatnot, then you can. Otherwise, you don't roll crimp that because it headspaces off of the mouth. The mouth stops its forward movement where it's supposed to stop in the chamber. So if you roll crimp it, what you've done is you've made that shorter, so it's going to go further into, well, it's actually at that point now going into the barrel proper rather than stopping right there in the chamber. And then you're increasing the distance with the bolt face that's in the slide that stops its rearward movement. Happy trails.